Hey everyone, my name is Josh. I'm a senior political science student at Ohio State, hence the flag in the background. And I'm not here to talk about our football team or the controversy surrounding it, so please keep viewing this video. I know if you're a Buckeye, you've heard a lot of that already, so let's just, hope the NCAA wraps up that investigation as soon as they possibly can. So we can all go back to life as normal, I guess. But anyway, the reason I'm making this video is to talk briefly about the debt and budget talks that are going on in Washington, D.C. right now on Capitol Hill. And if you've been following the news for today, July 21st, you would know that Speaker of the House Boehner and President Obama were having meetings, and it is said by both the New York Times and Politico that the two may have struck a deal. And the deal would consist of about $3 trillion in cuts. Now that's something that is a little bit less from a couple of other plans that are out there. So I'm going to talk about the two other plans first and then come back to the new one that may be coming out, I should say, between Speaker of the House Boehner and President Obama. The first plan is Tom Coburn's plan, Back in Black. It is proposing over $9 trillion, about $9.7 trillion in cuts. And before we say, hey, that's great, you have to look at being cut, look at what's being cut, and, immediately some people are not going to like it because he does call for about $1 trillion to be cut from the defense budget. I think that's a good idea. If you keep going line by line through it, I think it's something that would gain bipartisan support. However, the plan is also pretty decisive, which is why I don't think it's going to gain any steam. I wish it would, but I just don't see it gaining any steam because it is too decisive. It makes decisions, and that's something that is not really popular in Washington. The other plan is the Gang of Six's plan, which proposes about $3.6 or $3.7 trillion in cuts. That is put together by the bipartisan group of senators there, and it seems to be a pretty popular plan. Now we're going to move on to what was proposed today, the $3 trillion cuts. Again, proposed by Speaker of the House Boehner and President Obama. I should again mention these are proposed cuts. This is all kind of up in the air. We're not too sure if it is official or not, but the reason I'm pretty sure about it is because Speaker of the House Boehner did call for a special meeting tomorrow to take place. I think it was either at 8 or 9. Something tells me at 9 a.m. a special meeting was going to take place where he was going to talk about this with other Republican leadership. And you usually don't call that sort of a meeting unless you're really close to a deal. So I seem to trust the numbers that are being put out by the Politico and also by the New York Times. Now, the reason I want to talk about this plan as well is because I want to talk about the fact that they have said it will be $3 trillion in cuts, and none of the revenue that would be created would be from significant tax increases. Now that's a tricky word, significant, because what may be viewed as significant by you or I may be viewed as not significant by the folks in Washington. So our definitions of what is and what is not significant are probably in two different worlds, to tell you the truth. So that's going to be pretty interesting to watch. It really is. That could be in a good or bad way, I guess. But also the other thing I want to talk about is the term itself cuts. And, at least in the light of the budget and the debt talks. None of these cuts are actually true cuts that are going to create pure profit that we can use to pay down the national debt. That's just not going to happen. Instead, what these are cuts that actually slow down the rate in which government can spend money, which I think is a good thing. I really do. But that's enough of that. I'm not going to try to spend things one way or another for you. So I think I've already said enough on that. But it'd be like us taking a vacation for $10,000 this year. Well, next year we want to take a vacation but spend $15,000 on that vacation. Someone that we're going on vacation with doesn't like the idea of spending $15,000, so instead they say, well, let's spend $12,000. We'll still get to go on our nice trip, and everyone will be happy. I agree. We shake hands, and come next year we spend $12,000 to go on our trip as opposed to the $15,000 that I said. That's all well and good, but it's still more than the $10,000 that I spent for this year's trip. The same exact thing would be going on in Washington. They're still spending more money than what they did this year, just at a much lower rate. So again, you can view that as good or bad. That's not my decision to make for you, which is great. I think because we live in such a great country, we do have the freedom to choose whether or not this is a good or a bad thing. And I do think that that is something that's great. So hopefully this video has helped shed some light on the debt and the budget talks there. If you have any other questions, feel free to write me. I'll be more than happy to try my best to respond to all of your questions or concerns, comments, what have you. Let's try to keep the dialogue clean though, and let's have intelligent conversation here, folks. Also, before I forget, today is my sister Holly's birthday, so happy birthday, Holly. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow we're having Holly's party, and we're going to have family there, so if any of my family is watching this, make sure you slip an extra 10 or 20 in those cards for Holly, because we all know that her and my other sister, Natasha, are getting an apartment together. So let's help them make that apartment look awesome. Alright, that's all I wanted. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and hopefully you can spread this video around, and maybe I can make a few more of these. Who knows? We'll see you later.